is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Bleeding B&G. Man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, and you know that's different for us over here at Bleeding B&G because we usually got a lot to say. This feeling has become all too familiar. This is not a good feeling, and if you don't know the feeling that I'm talking about, this is a feeling that I've been feeling a lot over the last month, and that's the feeling that I have after the Commanders lose a football game. This is a feeling that you've seen me go through. If you've been a day one Bleeding B&G fan, if you've been rocking with us since the 2021 season, this is a feeling that you know all too well. Because to give you a timestamp, as we do for all of our episodes, it's about 10 o'clock on Sunday, November the 24th, in our Washington Commanders. I can't even call them beloved today. Our Washington Commanders fell to the fucking Dallas Cowboys. To the goddamn Dallas Cowboys. To the score of 34-26. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you know in every episode I've ever done, even through the tough times, I've tried to wear some form of burgundy and gold, some form of Commanders, Redskin, Washington football team paraphernalia. I couldn't do that today. I had to denounce the colors today. Because if you didn't know, Jay-Z was at the game today. And Jay-Z's not no amazing guy as far as in NFL circles, but you know he might be the greatest rapper of all time. Scratch that. No, that's Drake. Debate your mama. But, you know, Jay-Z is a pretty prominent figure, especially in pop culture, especially in African-American culture and things of that nature. But he came to the game with Michael Rubin, attending a Fanatics event with Josh Harris. And we're going to title this episode after one of Jay-Z's wife's smash hit singles. Shout out to Beyonce. And the title of this episode is going to be Ring the Alarm. The title of this episode is going to be Ring the Alarm because that's what we need to be doing in terms of the fraud alert sirens going off for the 2024 Washington Commanders. It's just quite that simple. You know you come to Bleeding B&G for the most raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis on your Washington Commanders. And if you don't like raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis, this ain't the episode for you. I'm sorry. If you just discovering us in 2024, we might have to bring the rants back today. Because I think that this performance is fully worthy of it. What the fuck was that today? And y'all know we boots on the ground in Northwest Stadium at every regular season Commanders home game. Scratch that. Every Commanders home game. We had the preseason too. And at one point, it looked like we might have been boots on the ground at a home game, postseason game for the Commanders. I don't know if I can say that with that much conviction anymore. Because we went from 7-2 to 7-5 like that. What the fuck? In the snap of a finger. And I'm starting to get 2008 vibes again. I'm really starting to get 2008 vibes again. It was an election year. My man Obama took over. Same thing as 2024. I know Trump won this year, but I'm getting PTSD. I'm getting trauma. Because what happened to the team that I came to know and love? Scratch that. No, scratch that. This is the team that I've come to know and love over the course of my 29 years of being a fan. My birthday was on Thursday. And the Commanders seem to never win on my birthday. My birthday wish for next year when I turn 30 is to not have a birthday, just so I can get a Commanders win. Because I don't know when the fuck the last time the Commanders won on my birthday weekend. It might have been against the Packers in 2016. Like, I love this team so much, I'm willing to not have a birthday for them to get a win. Because this shit is sad at this point. And I'm not trying to talk with too much emotion. And I'm not trying to talk with, speak with too much hyperbole. And I'm trying to be one of them fake Yoda Jedi fans that y'all, everything is fine. Don't worry, dude. You're being irrational. I'm trying it. Like y'all know the game. Like y'all just the epitome of patience. Get the fuck out of here. That's not why you come to Bleed and B&G. And it's a reason that we're ringing an alarm on the fraud alerts for the 2024 Washington Commanders. Because that performance that I saw today was fucking putrid. All across the board. And what I'm starting to realize, and I love all of you guys at the end of the day. If you're rooting for the Washington Commanders, we got the same interest at the end of the day. I love all of y'all. But I'm starting to realize that a lot of y'all, especially the ones with the Yoda, take your time, Wusan mindset. I understand it. But I'm starting to realize that a lot of y'all don't watch NFL football outside of our beloved Washington Commanders. Because if you didn't know, the Dallas Cowboys been the joke of the entire league for the last month, at the least. At the least. To be honest, this has been going on for damn near 2 months at this point. But they've been the laughing stock of the NFL. Well, guess what? No. Let me make this point. Let me make this point before I even get into what I'm about to say. The Dallas Cowboys have less wins in Dallas than Jake Paul. The Dallas Cowboys have less wins at AT&T Stadium than Jake Paul in 2024. If that doesn't tell you how bad they are, I don't know what will. But guess what? That didn't matter today when they came to put belt to ass to our Washington Commanders. I'm going to need my 11% that y'all raising those season ticket holder prices. I'm going to need my 11% back after that performance. I'm going to need it back, bruh. Josh Harris, I don't know who to talk to. I'll be on the phone first thing Monday morning. Because if we being honest, we are Hail Mary away from being 1-4 in our last 5 games. Or what is that? 1-5. 1-5 in our last 6 games. And this is what I mean when I say I'm feeling the 2008 vibes again. I was in the 8th grade when I was about 12, 13. I was just a young whippersnapper, not really knowing the game. It's like, no, we know ball since we came out the womb. But our beloved Washington Commanders in 2008 started the season 6-2 in the first year of the Jim Zorn era, which we know to be a fucking joke of an era, or which we knew that it'd come to. But it started off amazing at 6-2. Then they proceeded to go 2-6 for the rest of the season and miss the playoffs. I feel an eerily similar fate coming for our 2024 Washington Commanders. Starting with Dan Quinn, our beloved Dan Quinn, in his first season as the Washington Commanders coach. Starting off 7-2. Well, guess what? We facing the most adversity that we faced this season in the midst of a 3-game win streak. And I get the Pittsburgh Steelers, dominant defense. They had Lamar in the Matrix. The Eagles been putting belt to ass to everybody since September. The Dallas Cowboys fucking suck. And I sound wild as shit saying that after we lose today. But guess what? They ass, and they ain't even had the top 5 players on their payroll today. And they still beat the hell out of us. So what does that make us? But let me get into this game, man. We always start with the quarterback. And yes, as of right now, he's still a franchise. He's still the golden boy. JD5 come alive. But it's dead as hell right now. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It's dead as hell right now. Jaden Daniels' stat line reads as 25 for 38 for 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 74 rushing yards. I'm letting y'all know now, it was not that pretty. It was not that pretty, to say the least. 86 of those yards came on one of the most Looney Tune-ass plays that I'll ever see in my life. To contribute into a Looney Tune of a game that I experienced boots on the ground today. Like, Jaden had his legs back as a runner, 74 rushing yards, had a touchdown rushing, seemed to, be more assertive on his, designated runs, not necessarily on read options, but there were more, plays that were necessarily drawn up for him. I'm thinking of the first drive on the third and 12 where he picked up about 16 yards. Seemed more decisive as a runner. I don't know if that means that he's healthier, but he still looked off as a passer. He still looked off as a passer, not as crisp as he once was. And to be 100% honest with you, before that 86-yard play to Terry McLaurin, where the football guys were trying to give us one last chance, Jaden Daniels would have had another game with throwing sub 200 yards. Jaden Daniels getting walked down in the Rookie of the Year race. If you know you come to BNG for the most raw, uncut, and unfiltered analysis, and we giving it to you raw, uncut, and unfiltered. No diddy. Jaden Daniels is getting walked the fuck down in the Rookie of the Year race. He still looks off as a passer, as I mentioned. It seems like, and I hate to admit it, that there's more film on him and teams are game planning, and the game plans are flustering Jaden. I don't know if you're not able to adapt on the VR goggles that he got. I don't know if you're not able to shift the settings. I don't know what's going on. But to be 100% honest with you, over the course of the last couple of weeks, looking at the All-22 from the Steelers game and the Eagles game and just being boots on the ground today, it seems like teams are clouting the coverage over the middle, clamping Terry McLaurin, and Jaden's not going through his reads. And when he does goes through his reads, he's missing some throws that he didn't miss through his first 9 weeks of the season. I said before, yes, while I do agree that this roster is overachieving to an extent, one of the greatest colognes that you can have, matter of fact, the greatest cologne that you can have for an NFL roster that has holes in it is elite quarterback play. And Jaden Daniels was providing elite quarterback play for the first 9 weeks of the season. That's why we started 7-2. And while he hasn't been horrible, scratch that, he was horrible in the Eagles game. While he hasn't been what we've come to see from Washington quarterbacks, because you know the abyss of the Washington quarterbacks that we've had, he's been anything but elite over the course of these last 3 games. And that's why the holes in the roster are as glaring as they ever been this season. That's why the holes in the roster are as glaring as they've ever been this season, because we're not getting the elite quarterback play that we got at the beginning of the year. Like I said, I'm glad to see that his legs are back at the run as a runner, and that's the reason why I wanted to draft Jaden Daniels with the number 2 overall pick, was the dynamicism that he can provide at the quarterback position. But when you running like my fucking grandfather out there over the last couple of weeks, you taking away half of your superpowers. So I am glad that part of the offense woke back up or extended itself again today, because we haven't seen that since the Carolina Panther game, if I'm being 100% honest. But as far as throwing the balls, as I said, he's not as crisp as he was at the beginning of the year. Missing Zach Ertz on the wrong shoulder on an overthrow on the first drive, that play could have resulted in a touchdown. I'm thinking of the fade to the sideline. I think Terry McLaurin was from the slot, but it wouldn't have mattered because Jaden Daniels threw that ball with Terry McLaurin when it came down with it inbounds. Yeah, that's a tough throw, but that's throws that he was making at the beginning of the season. These are throws that he was making for him to be in the top 5 in the MVP running over the course of the first 9 weeks. And he simply he's not that guy. He's not the guy that we saw at the beginning of the year. Like I started off saying that he's still the franchise. He's still the golden boy. But Jaden Daniels is hitting that rookie wall. You'll be a fool to not admit it. And while this game didn't come down to him, he didn't lose this game, I wouldn't say that he necessarily helped us win it either. Even with that 86-yard play to Terry McLaurin. Let's be 100% honest. Because I saw some people start to say that Jaden Daniels and Cliff allowed Jaden Daniels to open it up in the fourth quarter. What the fuck? No, they didn't. What? What are y'all? Is that like a coping mechanism? Is opening it up a 186-yard miracle-ass play where the Dallas Cowboys were clearly playing prevent cover 2 defense and they played it wrong? Because guess what? They're the Dallas Cowboys. They're not that good. They're not good. Fuck to that. They're not good. But I can't even say that today because they belt the ass to us today. They put belt to ass to us today. You know what they showed us today? That we still little brothers in the NFC East. You know how hurtful that was to say? There's been years in the past where we've been dog shit. But I've been like, and this has come more when I was a child because I've started to realize this line of thinking was fucking insane as an adult. But when I was a young whippersnapper, I was like, man, we can be as bad as we want. But as long as we beat the Dallas Cowboys, my season is safe. Well, guess what? That's what Dallas Cowboy fans looking at us like this year. And we just made their season. The DMV been quiet as hell because I ain't heard Dallas Cowboy fans. They've had 3 chances to cheer and celebrate all year before the day. We just gave them their 4th. My phone been blowing up all day from the fake-ass Dallas Cowboy fans that ain't never been to Dallas from the DMV. And I ain't got nothing to say to them. I done been called little brother like 13 times a day. And I'm the oldest one in my family. This shit is new to me. What am I supposed to say back to that? What am I supposed to say back to that? When we 2-2 in the division and our 2 wins came against the New York Giants, guess what? They little bro too. They little bro too. They little bro too. But yeah, man. To wrap it up with Jaden, I mean, Jaden's not the problem. He's not. But he hasn't been the answer over the course of this 3-game win streak. Losing streak. You be fooling yourself if you think he is. He still looks skittish in the pocket. And I'll give one reason to that when we get to the offensive line. Because they've been playing like fucking horse shit. Yeah, I think the Rams might be back. Y'all. But if you were day one, if you've been rocking with us since the 2021 season, you know this is how we get. Because this looked like the 2021 team. The 2022 team. Yeah, I know we 7-5, but guess what? We can that can turn to 7-8, just like it went from 7-2 to 7-5 in the snap of a finger. Because at this point, I don't have any confidence going into any game. The most confidence that I was going to have in the game was going into today. For all my fake Yoda Jedi fans, any NFL team that loses a game as a 10.5 point favorite, that's an objective failure of a loss. That's for any team. So no, it's not, oh, this fan base is always so emotional. Oh, what, yeah, this fan base. No, it's not that. It's not that. The sky just might be falling, bruh. Let's get into this non-existent ass run game. Brian Robinson Jr. got hurt on the first play and was cooked from here on out. Now, I know I don't want to bash a guy for injuries, but I heard a lot of people, I know Rio Robinson, shout out to my guy, he made a point early in the season. I was like, while B-Rob is producing, we still got to look at running back in the draft, during the draft season at the end of the year. And you would have thought that he started calling people mother fat the way that they was reacting to that. Brian Robinson Jr. is unreliable as hell due to his health. Now, I know he was able to come back into the game because he's not soft. He's a fucking stud. He said, fuck that cart. Walked off. Was able to come back. But y'all realize Brian Robinson Jr. didn't play in the second half? That's a theme that's been going on for 2 months now. We don't know if he's about to play. We don't know if he's going to play. And if he does play, we don't know how long he's going to be available for. And running back is arguably the shortest shelf life of a position that you can have in the NFL. Why wouldn't we be looking at running backs in the draft? Brian Robinson Jr., I love the story. And I think that, you know, some of us, especially my Yoda Jedi fans, I think they fell in love with the story. But your best ability is your availability. And Brian Robinson ain't been available that much over the course of the last 2 months. It just is what it is. And a lot of this Ain't the running back's fault. It's not. Because I'm going to get into, y'all know we really know ball bleeding the BNG. I'm about to get into the trenches. But we have no dynamicism at the running back position right now, especially with a hampered B-Rob. Because when he is out there, he's not packing that punch that he had at the beginning of the season. He's not. He's not. And like I said, I don't want to harp on the guy because I know it looked like he potentially had gotten seriously injured on that first play. And I'm surprised that he came back. But the way that he was running the ball after, he might as well not have come back. Austin Eckler went 9 for 22. Got injured on the last kick return of the game. Prayers to Austin because that looked ugly. He was asleep for a minute. He wasn't moving for a minute. I'm surprised that he got up, to be 100% honest. But that's Mighty Mouse. He's a tough guy, but I doubt that he'll be available for next week. This is his second concussion this season. And prior to the concussion, it wasn't as if he was providing, the spark that he provided, in the Eagle game or that he was providing early in the season as well. I don't want to harp on the running backs too much because both of them went down with injuries. Prayers out to both guys. Get well soon. But going into the Tennessee Titan game, and it looked like we might not have our top two running backs. That's unchy. That's yikes. Yikes, to say the least. All right, now, I talked about it with Jaden, and I talked about it with the running backs. This offensive line is horse shit right now. Ass. They getting zero push in the run game. I'm not surprised at these rushing stats. When your best reps in the run game is a stalemate, and your worst reps are you getting blown up 6 yards into the backfield, the run game has dropped off noticeably since Tyler Biadasz has been banged up. He had to come out of today's game. But guess what? Sam Cosmi got a big old bag. And he out there belly dancing with the defensive tackles. Nick Allegretti out there doing the same thing. I know he ain't get no big old bag. But we was ready to call him the second coming of Larry Allen at the beginning of the season. Rest in peace to the bro. Now he looking like fucking who he looking like? Randy Thomas. He not even looking like Randy Thomas. Who was our guard last year? Nick Gates. Andrew Norwell. We getting the same amount of push as Andrew Norwell in the run game. Then our offensive tackles getting their ass whooped. Andrew Wiley out with another concussion. Trent Scott is ass. He should not be a football player. He should be a bouncer at somebody's club, bro. That's what he built like. I knew once Andrew Wiley went down, while he's not that good, he's at least an NFL player. Trent Scott, I know he was out there hopping when he scored that touchdown. He might as well go ahead and go be an AD over there at some HBCU, bro. Because whenever he comes in emergency duty, it's like you might as well just chalk it up for the right side. Like, offensive line getting bullied. This game still comes down to the trenches, especially in the NFC East. And we got our ass whooped in the trenches today by fucking Mozzie Smith. Mozzie Smith ain't did shit since he was drafted. And I know y'all don't watch across the league, but Mozzie Smith is a smidget of a better draft pick than Emmanuel Forbes was coming out of the 2023 NFL draft. And the only reason that he's a better draft pick is because he's at least playing. Emmanuel Forbes still inactive because he ass. We out there getting blown up by Mozzie Smith. Everybody and their mother been able to run them down the Dallas Cowboys fucking throat. No diddy. Joe Mixon was out there looking like he was on the schoolyard against them last week. You saw what the Packers did when Dan Quinn was their coordinator. This has been going back for years and years. But you know who can't run against them? The Washington Commanders, the Washington football team, the Washington Redskins. Because they seem to still have our number, even when they the fucking in the cellar dweller of the league, bruh. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Let's get into these pass catches. Terry McLaurin, 5 catches for 102 yards. Another boo-boo the fool-ass stat line, like Jaden Daniels' quarterback stat line, because 86 of those yards came on that miracle play where the Cowboys just played horrible prevent cover 2 defense, where he went untouched after being wide open and running away from some guys. He did show some Baker Ray speed that I haven't necessarily seen from him this year. But before that play, Terry McLaurin had 4 catches for 16 yards with a minute left in the game. So we can focus on that counting stat line at the end of the game and say, oh, Terry McLaurin went for 100 yards again. And ignore the fact that him not being involved changed the dynamics of the entire flow of the offense and of the game. Terry McLaurin had 6 targets. Noah Brown had 8. In no world should Noah Brown be out-targeting Terry McLaurin. Not in this world, not in the afterlife, not in Bizarro world. In no world should Noah Brown be out-targeting Terry McLaurin. Noah Brown went 6 for 71 with a couple of drops. Seems to be a thing for him in the last coming weeks. Seems like ever since the Hail Mary, he 50-50 like a rifle. Like, what is going on? And I knew that there was going to be a point in the season, and it was masked when we were 7-2. But guess what? I have new data points now that I can talk about. I wasn't going to talk about it when we were 7-2. I knew that there was going to be a point in the season where Noah Brown being your wide receiver 2 was going to come back and bite you in the ass. Because another thing from this game is that we're just simply not good at the skill positions. I wouldn't mind if we go all offense in the draft this year. We have no dynamicism in the pass catchers. Because no Yak Zach, he went for 6 and 36 and a touchdown. And we talk about how Zach Ertz doesn't get any yards after the catch. Noah Brown doesn't either. He's just as much of a catch and fall guy. And I know people holding Cliff's feet to the fire because we seen the trend of his offense is stumbling towards the second half of the season. And it looks like his play calling isn't as, evolved as it was at the beginning of the season. And to be honest with you, I agree with that to an extent because it seems like the only 2 routes in our route tree right now is a fucking bubble screen and a comeback at the sticks. But how much can you realistically expect Cliff to do when you got Noah Brown as your wide receiver 2? When you still out that bitch trotting De'Ami Brown out there just running around. With Luke McCaffrey out there just vibing. How much do you expect Cliff to do when the offensive line getting they fucking back blown in? No Diddy. How much? Let's be real. We got to get rid of that culture just blaming the coaches. Like at the end of the day, we pay these players, bruh. And Cliff not really working with much. That's why he looked like such a wizard at the beginning of the season. Because the cupboard is damn near bare hair. The cupboard is damn near bare hair. You look at the Dallas Cowboys. They still got a Kevontae Turpin. We ain't got nobody like that on this roster. And we're going to get into Kevontae Turpin in a minute. We ain't got nobody like that as that dynamic with the ball in their hands on this roster. That's able to hit their head on the goalpost. I told you, that elite quarterback play that we got the first 9 weeks of the season masked a lot of deficiencies. And they're rearing their ugly head. Let's get into this defense, man. Because I think this might be where I get the most raw and uncut. Like Cooper Rush had a 118 passer rating on us today. He went 24 for 32 for 246 yards. Do you think that Marshon Lattimore could have helped today? For all my fans that told me, oh, it's no big deal. Oh, man, we don't need him against Tennessee. We don't need him against Dallas. We don't need him against the Eagles. I don't think that Cooper Rush would have had a 118 passer rating if Marshon Lattimore was on the field. And I think y'all missed the point when I made that initial tweet about 11 days ago that said that it was a big deal that he was missing the Philadelphia Eagles game. Because, no, I don't want him out there playing if he's not 100%. But y'all are missing the point that the fact that he's not 100% is the big deal. We traded for Marshon Lattimore a month ago. He ain't played a snap as a Commander. This feel like when we traded for HaHa Clinton Dix in 2018 and won like one game after. Marshon Lattimore not being available is the big deal. Because guess what? Instead of trading for a cornerback that wasn't going to play for you in a month, all of you Yoda Jedi fans, oh man, they know what they're doing. Adam Peters, Adam Peters has been hitting home runs out the park. He has. I'm not naive. I'm going to admit that. But guess what? He can fuck up too. He not perfect. And maybe instead of trading for a wide receiver that wasn't going to play for you for a month, we could have got another pass-catching weapon in here. DeAndre Hopkins was available for less than what you gave up for Marshon Lattimore, if I'm being quite honest. Or maybe we could have did more at the deadline. Because I'm not saying that Jahan Dotson was the answer. I mean, before the deadline, in the offseason. Because I'm not saying that Jahan Dotson was the answer. But if you're going to give him up, he's clearly not the answer. He got like 110 more yards than me. But if you're going to give him up, you got to have a replacement. And if Noah Brown is your replacement, hella meh as a replacement. Hella meh. Noah Brown is a Hail Mary away from being Leonard Hankerson, if I'm being 100% honest with you. And for my Yoda Jedi fans that's telling me that I'm too emotional, we got to piss or stand on the pot. We got to pick a side. Because either now you're saying that this roster is overachieving. We weren't supposed to be this good. We doubling our run total and all that. But just a couple of days ago, you said that we didn't need Marshon Lattimore for Dallas and Tennessee. And the Eagles, for that matter. Which one is it? You got to pick a side. You got to piss or get off the pot. Which one is it? Which one is it? Now let's get to some of the players that actually did something on the field today. Bobby Wagner and Jeremy Chin, they balled out. Jeremy Chin's the best player on this defense. He might be a top 3 player on this roster right now. Pay that man right now. I don't care if you got to give him top of the strong safety market. Excuse me. Because he's been a top of the strong market strong safety. He's been a top of the league strong safety. Over there cracking skulls. We seen him damn near decapitate a Dallas Cowboy receiver today. Almost like he was the only player that gave a fuck about the rivalry. Looking like Sean Taylor and shit. Go back and watch. He damn near ran down Kevontae Turpin on the kick return. 6'3", 230. Kevontae Turpin got the fastest ball carrier time, I think, in like the last 3 years. Jeremy Chin looked like, and Bobby Wagner looked like the only defenders that gave a shit today. You can throw Mikey Sanders still in there as well, even though I think he got some plays where, he gave up some catches as well. But no phase of the team was good today. Offense was ass. Defense was shit. Special teams was dog shit. So it ain't really much to say about the defense. Deron Payne had another day of doing nothing. Frankie Louvu made a couple of plays on the ball, but we didn't have much of a pass rush. Cooper Rush was back there picking his fucking spots like a sunny day in Landover. Out there just surveying the field, like just cooling in the pocket. No pass rush. Dante Fowler ain't made a play in about 2 weeks. Dorrance Armstrong made one tackle for loss. He was talking about how hype he was to play against his team. I couldn't see it. You ain't have to be a former Cowboy to have one tackle for loss. Brought all them former Cowboys out there as captains just to fucking lose. Just to do a whole bunch of nothing. Deron Payne had another day of doing a whole bunch of fucking nothing. Going against a rookie center who hadn't played center before this year. He learned his center on the fly. And all my, the Jedi fans can keep talking about this one play that he made. Deron Payne getting paid over $20 million. And you talking about one play that he made against a developmental center. What the fuck are we really talking about here? What are we really talking about here? The sky is falling. Now we got a couple of games, and we created so much of a cushion early in the year that we can pick the sky back up. But right now, that motherfucker falling, bruh. That motherfucker falling. I feel like this is fine meme with the dog. This is like, we lost to the Dallas Cowboys, bro. They ass. We lost to Cooper Rush. Zeke got a pot belly. Like, how? And I'm supposed to think this team gonna do something in the playoffs? Shitting me. Getting the special teams, like I said, we was bad at all three phases of the game, but this was probably the worst. Austin Seibert might be cooked. Out this bitch looking like John Hall. Shout out to all my OG Redskin fans. If you know, you know. 2 missed extra points, a missed field goal. He's ass anything over 50 yards. The reason that those field goals are getting blocked over 50 yards is because he kicking them low as fuck because he got to drive because his leg weak as hell. And if he's still hurt, like he's been over the last couple of weeks, why was he playing today? That's a Ron Rivera-ass move. If he's still hurt and you want to give him that excuse, he shouldn't have been playing today. Because that's the same thing we laughed at the Giants in week 2 about with Graham Gano. And it came back to bite you in the ass today. Because the football gods gave you one more chance. But old Austin had to fuck it up. And it didn't come down to one play. Because the special teams had a number of blunders. They allowed a kickoff return today to Kevontae Turpin, where he had a spin move that sent Jeremy Reeves to the fucking shadow realm. All pro Revo, my ass. That spin move had Jeremy Chin in the fucking Matrix. Y'all know I ain't the biggest Jeremy Reeves, The Jeremy's frying me today. That spin move, I don't want to do that to Jeremy Chin, so I'm going to repeat it because Jeremy Chin been a fucking dog. That spin move had Jeremy Reeves in the fucking Matrix. Y'all fan favorite. Y'all know I ain't big on Jeremy Reeves because I think that he's not that good of a football player on downs 1 through 3. And I think that you could get more than just a special teams ace because guess what? Percy Butler can do that, and I think he's a better player on downs 1 through 3. But if that's what you want a roster for, you can't be looking like you went into a fucking portal. And then Jordan McGee lost his lane integrity, and it was murder she wrote at that point. And then I started to hear the Dallas Cowboy fans that I ain't heard in 2 months take over the stadium. It really felt like 2008 vibes again. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because you can start to see the trauma on my face. And I ain't trying to cry on camera today. So that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. As always, if you're not following us on social media, what are you doing? Go ahead. So you're not catching this content in real time, catching the tweets in real time, catching the Instagram posts in real time. Our Instagram is @BleedingBNG, BleedingBNG, BNG. Our X handle is @BleedingBNG, BleedingBNG. So there's only one G in our X handle. Go ahead and listen to us on audio-only platforms such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you do, please leave a rating. please leave a review. That's how we finesse these algorithms so that when you're searching anything, Washington Commanders, Bleeding BNG is that #1 content hub that pops up in your search bar. Oh man, it's finna be a long week. I told y'all before, my weeks be shit. My weeks be shit when the Washington Commanders don't win. And now I gotta deal with Thanksgiving and half of a house full of fake ass Dallas Cowboy fans. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'll check in on y'all.